Okay, let me ask you a question, because I didn't ever see this in the reading. Okay, do we know generally what they think the size and the length of this knife was?
No.
Okay.
I'm sure that the medical examiner probably was able to come up with a good estimate of the size.
Okay, but if we think about this, let's just say your average steak knife, not serrated, but just a steak knife. That's a relatively thin and narrow blade. And that's not too hard versus, the big kitchen knife you have that's like 2 inches long at the back and about a foot long. That I could see being difficult to getting it in and then it wedging against body parts and bone.
Yeah.
Right? Your body
collapses
on in and sucks that thing in, right?
Well, and that's why I was asking if it was originally I was wondering about it is, do we know if it was a single or a double-sided blade?
I do
because
not know.
If it's sharp on both sides, that makes it much easier because you can literally cut it back out as you pull.
Yeah, and
sorry, Devin.
It's okay.
The look on your face said you didn't like that.
I did not like that. I don't know why I didn't like that. I just didn't.
Yeah, I don't know, but it maybe wasn't a huge knife because it did go into as long. But I'm trying to measure with my fingers here the distance between my collarbone and my long. It's not, I guess it's not that far. It could have been maybe a 6-inch, 8-inch.
Yeah,
knife,
that's not a big knife.
It's not a small knife either,
no,
though.
It's big enough
That's not a knife. This is a knife.
It's not like a paring knife. It's not a steak knife, right? I mean, that's like a kitchen knife at least.
My steak knives are about 6 inches long.
Yeah, it depends on the steak knife too. Not a flimsy steak knife, I hope, because that wouldn't survive even probably the first or second stabbing. But
yeah.
But I mean, I have steak knives that are stout enough to stab people 3 times, no doubt.
Have you washed them in bleach?
No.
You should.
I will. I mean, no.
Yeah.
When it's
You should.
necessary, I will do that. But
When?
that's the only downside of the whole psycho chick is just I think it takes more strength. But there are women out there, especially if you're a psycho, as we all know from the movies. Psychos are super strong.
It comes with the
territory.
diagnosis, yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. It just seems to.
Super strength.
The doctor looks at you and says, "You're psycho," and also
You're psycho.
you
Don't
have
come near
super
me.
strength.
Yeah.
You're a superhero.
Well,
Supervillain.
Sorry,
yeah.
supervillain.
Oh, by the way, for all our psycho chick listeners, I apologize in advance. Please, no kill I. that was actually Steve's idea.
It was, yeah.
Yeah, it was.
I wrote
totally.
this.
So there's one more theory,
Only one more theory.
and I like this one.
Murdered by a jealous boyfriend or husband.
Yeah.
This has a lot of
Well,
traction.
it really does, because let's face it. I mean, he was like, as his friend said, he didn't care. They had a boyfriend or a husband. He didn't care. And really, that takes care of the whole problem with upper body strength and pulling the knife out and everything like that.
Well, some of the problem.
Some of the problem, actually. Well, not every guy is super strong, let's face it. And, so I'm thinking that's the best motivation.
Well, I was
mean,
going to say,
because-
that's the person that has the motive.
Yeah, I mean,
You find where this a-hole lives.
It's a more common motive than being a psycho and going berserk and having a Glenn Close kind of thing where you're obsessed with somebody.
Mm-hmm.
But also like more than like random, right? It's more likely than random.
Oh, yeah.
The only problem I have with this is that it, like a normal dude who flies off the handle and gets mad and goes stab somebody to death and then never talks about it ever again and lives a totally normal life.
Uh-huh.
Like that is insane. That's
Well,
crazy.
you don't know that happened. He might have actually gone off and gotten thrown in jail for
That's true. I mean, I
assault,
guess he could have. Yeah, that could
or
be that kind
stabbing
of guy.
somebody else. And this is one of the reasons criminals get caught is they're stupid and they talk.
Mm-hmm.
But maybe this guy was actually smart enough to just keep his friggin' mouth shut and never say a word about it to anybody.
There are a lot of unsolved crimes because there are a lot of perpetrators who do that. They do it and they tell nobody.
Smart move there, huh?
Yeah, alternately, right, I mean, there is the possibility he's got anger issues, right? I mean, clearly
probably.
has some anger issues, gets tossed in jail for assault.
Probably.
And then, a couple of years later gets released because guess what? Assault ain't murder.
No.
So, I mean,
And
he realizes, oh yeah, I should probably not tell anyone about that.
Smart move.
Yeah. I don't know. It's
But yeah,
crazy.
to me, it's just more common. I think it's a better motive to me because I mean, people that are nuts enough to just stab somebody because they're obsessive, they're not nearly as common as people who are willing to stab somebody because they had sex with their wife.
Yeah.
I mean, that's a good motive for murder.
There's been a lot of
Really
killing
good
over
motive.
that.
Oh yeah.
I mean, it's a frequent one. I don't know that it's a good one.
Well,
but it's pretty
okay.
frequent.
That's what I mean.
Yeah.
I don't mean good as in.
It's a more
angelic.
motivating factor.
Yeah.
It's just a lot more common.
Yeah.
Yeah. So what do we got here? So okay, we got suicide. We got he thought he was this man. We've got the jealous husband. I'm gonna go with jealous husband. What do you guys think?
Yeah. I mean, just for the sake of, because I like it. I like that it's this man.
This man.
But
yeah.
I think
Yeah.
probably jealous husband or boyfriend is
Seems more likely.
the most likely.
It kind of does.
I, to a degree, I kind of like the idea of the interrupted crime because that would also explain, because the neighbor says there were 2 or 3 loud bangs.
Yeah.
So if there's a crime going on or something's happening outside, that to me is what would draw him out. Because he's got a peephole on the door, and if there is some angry guy banging on the door and screaming, and I go to the peephole and I'm like, that's a really angry dude. I'm not opening the door.
You know, it might be that Oog actually carried the murder weapon to the murder scene. He might have, seen this guy out there, might have said, well, I can't avoid this, but I'm going to grab a knife just in case.
I think
And
that's
he
a
got
pretty
stuck
easy
with his own knife.
confrontation to avoid. You wait for the guy to bang on your door for 5 minutes, and then you call the cops.
You could do that too.
You know, like
I
he
said,
didn't
you go out with a knife.
He wouldn't have had to go out there, but I
Well-
feel like he might have been curious enough
But
to
there-
see what was going on and made the interruption.
There are
Yeah.
definitely those personality types, though, that are like, oh, yeah, okay, bring it.
Uh-huh.
True.
I don't.
I got this knife in my hand. You are on my property. I'm going to call the cops on you. Bring it. Shut up. Get out of here. Yeah, I slept with your wife. What? Oh, oops, you have that knife and you're stabbing me. This was a bad idea.
This did
Yeah.
not go according to plan.
Right? I mean,
Okay.
that for me to get in that mindset is not so hard. I can see how he could have talked himself
I'll
up
give you
into
that.
that. I
Yeah.
agree it was dumb, but
In the end, I'm sure he regretted it. He didn't
Yeah.
have long to regret
yeah,
it.
so
but,
that's the silver lining of that.
Yeah, but he might have actually gone out there with a knife to confront this
Could've,
guy.
totally
Okay.
could've.
Except that I don't know that we know that any knives were missing that anybody knows of. But then again, that's hard to track down. Nobody knows how many knives are in my house. Never mind.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
don't know either. You lose knives from sets, and actually you can buy knives individually too. So
Yeah,
yeah. I don't
we
know.
have a lot in my house.
Yeah. Hey, well, okay, another mystery solved, and sorry, Choopy, we left you out again. We'll work you in next time, I promise. But time for a little housekeeping here. You probably want to know if we have a website. Well, we do have a website, finally. It's called ThinkingSidewayspodcast.com. If you want to contact us and tell us how much you love us, whatever, we have one of those email things, too. It's called ThinkingSidewayspodcast@gmail.com. And of course, you can find us, besides our website, you can find stuff out there like our episodes, which you can listen to. And what else? We've got that new list also of all
We
of
got
our
the
episodes.
episode list on
We got
there.
our episode list, makes it easy to find past episodes. And also, we're on iTunes, among other places, where you can subscribe, you can download our stuff, you can rate us, review us, preferably a good review and a high rating. We'd like those a lot better. And go upvote a lot of 5-star reviews, too. We'd like that, too.
Yeah.
Yeah, definitely do that. Streaming, we are everywhere. Also Google Play, besides everywhere. You can stream us.
Google Play not included in everywhere.
Yeah, exactly. What else? Social media. We are on the Facebook, where we have a group and a page. So join the group. And what else do we want to do?
Like the page.
Oh yeah, like the page. Okay. And then just like sort of you can sort of lurk and read stuff, or you can post stuff, or whatever. Have conversations and stuff like that. And
Just
tell us how
lurk.
much you love us. Yeah. We're also on Twitter, where we are Thinking Sideways, not thinking, but thinking, no G. And we have a subreddit, Thinking Sideways. And what else? Merchandise. You want to know where you can buy cool merch. So we're on Zazzle and Redbubble, where we have shirts, mugs, stickers.
Yep.
a
Links
night-
for those are on the website.
Yeah, I think we got a nightlight, but you probably will find the shirts and mugs more useful. And that's about it, I think.
Yeah.
Yeah, anything else?
Nope.
That's all I got.
Yeah. All right,
I
you
wouldn't look
guys.
at the list though.
Yeah, and obviously if you are Oog's killer, I know a way to make $100,000. Just let me know, and I will split it with you, okay? All right, till next week, guys. Toodaloo.
Bye, guys.
Stab, stab, stab. Thinking Sideways is not brought to you by Trekkie dating sites. Instead, it's brought to you by CrimeCon. Yep, that's right. CrimeCon is happening on Friday, June 9th to Sunday, June 11th, 2017 at the JW Marriott in Indianapolis. It's going to be really cool. They've got a lot of big name VIPs that are coming and doing events, so you get to come to meet these folks who have been doing all of these other things that you keep watching and listening to. So you want to be there. It's gonna be awesome. It's Nancy Grace, Ron Johnson, Carl Marino, Kirk Newmy, just to name a couple. And of course, like us, there's gonna be other awesome podcasters there. So you want to go this year for sure. And if you go to crimecon.com to register and use the promo code Sideways20, you'll get 20% off of your admission. Go to crimecon.com and we will see you this June.
Thinking Sideways.
I don't get it.
I brought the aliens.
You must unlearn what you have learned.
I don't know.
Stories of things we simply don't know the answer to.
Hey guys, welcome to another episode of Thinking Sideways, the podcast. I am Devin, joined as usual by
Joe.
And
Steve.
we got another mystery for you.
Cool.
Not quite to the cooking show phase yet.
Almost.
This week we're going to talk about a mystery that we are calling officially the death of Mary Anderson, but is actually Jane Doe 159 UFWA.
Yeah, one of those is her real name.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
One of them is not her real name.
Or maybe both of them aren't.
Probably neither of them. So quick overview of the case, as we do. On October 9th, 1996, a woman named Mary Anderson checked into room 214 of the Hotel Vintage Park in Seattle, Washington. She paid cash for 2 nights stay. I mean, it wasn't really a cheap hotel, but she paid cash. And then on Friday morning, when checkout time had come and gone and she didn't check out as expected, the hotel staff, tried to gain access to her room and then couldn't, so
It was deadbolted.
It was deadbolted, so they had to emergency override to get into her room and found her dead on the bed.
Emergency override is that it had electronic lock.
Yeah, I mean, they had some sort of a way. You have to have some way to get into these rooms, right? I mean,
You would think.
Yeah.
I mean, there's always dead bodies, and it happens a lot.
Yeah. So they found her dead. She had left a note, and then when they, tried to notify next of kin, or the police tried to notify next of kin based on the information she had left, it turned out that not only was Mary Anderson a fake name, but the phone number and the address that she had left, the address was non-existent and the phone number didn't belong to her. And she's still unidentified.
Yeah, she appears to have made the name Mary Anderson maybe up on the spot. Apparently there's hesitation marks in her signature or her writing of the name.
That's what's been claimed.
In the note?
No, on the stuff for the hotel when she signed in.
Oh.
And,
I was going to say, on the note, there's no hesitation.
No, but on,
So
you
that's
you have to fill some paperwork out when you
Yeah.
check in.
Yeah.
That's where the hesitation marks were.
And just remember, this is pre 9/11, so when we're talking about trying to that doesn't really happen. And then I presume that since she paid cash up front, they didn't really care if she had an ID
Didn't require
or
a
anything
credit
like that.
card or anything.
Yeah. So let's back up a little bit. Although there's not much backing up to be done because we literally don't know anything about where Mary was before she checked in. And then once she checked in, she pretty much didn't leave the room. She put the Do Not Disturb sign up on her door. As far as we can tell, like as soon as she checked in, bolted herself in there and just never came out.
Was she, by the time they found her, was she kind of ripe, or had she, had she immediately committed suicide? Or?
No, I think it was fairly recent. I mean, the room wasn't warm or anything like that, and there's no mention of her being pungent. Decomposing. And it was
After
only
2 days, she would have been in a stable environment like that. I don't think that she would have been experiencing any massive degradation.
One would assume.
Yeah.
So, I have a copy of the note that she left. A copy. I have just the note that she left.
You don't have the actual note?
I don't. I
You have
don't
a copy
even
of
have
the
a
copy?
copy of it. I just have the words that she wrote. Her note said, "To whom it may concern, I have decided to end my life, and no one is responsible for my death. Mary Anderson. P.S. I have no relatives. You can use my body as you choose."
So what did they do with her body?
They held it.
They didn't sell it?
No, they held it in the morgue for 8 months, I think. Well, they were trying to identify her, and then finally embalmed her and buried her in an unmarked grave. But there's a grave number and all of that stuff.
So if you want to go visit her grave,
you could.
You can go find it.
Yeah, she's buried at Seattle's Crown Hill Cemetery, and she's in grave number 197A. So if you want to go visit Mary Anderson.
Seattle listeners, get on that, would you?
Yeah.
And also Seattle listeners, if you wouldn't mind swinging by the Hotel Vintage, I want to know if they still have a room 214 or if that's permanently closed off, all other stuff.
It's actually, my understanding it is closed off.
Is it really?
I read an article from just a couple of years later, and the investigative reporter said he wasn't able to gain access to it, although I'm not sure if that means that he was just trying to break into the room or if he was trying to rent it. But the hotel won't talk about
or maybe
this
he
at
was
all.
Just lazy and he wasn't able to gain access because he never tried.
No, I think he tried. This is one of the ones that we'll post. You have to Wayback Machine it, but it's an incredibly thorough investigation of what happened, I guess. I mean, that's the frustrating. Yeah, that's the frustrating thing about this case. And we'll just talk about everything that we know, and then we'll talk about everything else.
So the note that we're talking about, that was handwritten.
It was handwritten on. It was quote unquote scribbled on a piece of hotel stationery. You know, they give you those little notebooks or whatever, and a pen.
Yeah.
So Mary was estimated to be between 33 and 45 years old, and we will talk about this later because I presume you guys looked at the pictures of her.
She looks a little older than that.
She does look a little older than that, but we'll talk about that in a second. She was about 5'8", 5 foot 8 inches.
I thought she was 5'7".
I think she was 5'8".
Was it?
Yeah, but I didn't transfer that into international units. Sorry.
Yeah, that's about 17 kilos and about half a kilometer, something like that.
Yeah, something like that.
That sounds about right.
Yeah,
That's accurate.
Yeah, and then she weighed 240 pounds, which I think is like 2 stone, maybe.
2 stone and about, I don't know, like 5,000 kilograms, I guess.
I'm pretty sure that's accurate.
That's about right. Yeah.
She had reddish brown hair and brown eyes.
In metric, again, that is what? Just kidding.
Reddish brown and brown, I think. I think it translates pretty significantly. Accurately?
Accurately.
Yeah, accurately. Yeah. She had a copper IUD inserted, which is birth control.
Yeah,
for those of you who are not familiar. Intrauterine device.
Yeah.
She had some sort of breast surgery at some point, which produced scars on both of her breasts. And then also around the nipple area, so it was like from the under side. Her hair was combed. Her nails were neatly trimmed and painted like a white cream pearl color. She had makeup on. She had a dental plate in her mouth, and she was wearing black leggings and a black top.
Wait, dental plate, so that's basically...
Denture.
It's a denture. Okay.
Yeah.
Making sure I understood what that meant. I suddenly realized that. I wasn't sure.
She was laying on top of the bed. I guess I don't know if there were 2 beds or 1 bed in the room, but she was laying on top of it. The sheets were turned down neatly underneath her, so she had turned the sheets down so that she wouldn't get them dirty, and laid on top of them. She was propped up against a bunch of pillows. The topper ones, not the ones that you sleep on.
Oh, the decorative ones?
They were like a dark print. So it seems like, she was trying to be as convenient as possible.
Conscious of what was going to happen after the fact?
Yeah. She had a large Bible open face down on her chest to Psalms 23.
Not the hotel Bible?
I don't think it was the hotel Bible.
I got the impression that
it was her own Bible.
Somebody's Bible, but it wasn't the hotel one.
Yeah. And for those of us who don't know, can one of you guys read this psalm for us? It's pretty normal.
Well, this is one you've heard. I mean, if you've ever watched any TV show or any movie where somebody gets killed and they cut to the funeral scene, you're hearing one of 2 songs. You're hearing either this one or the other one that goes ashes to ashes, dust to dust. So this one goes, Psalm 23, "The Lord is my shepherd, I shall not want. He maketh me to lie down in green pastures. He leads me beside the still waters. He restores my soul. He leadeth me in the paths of righteousness for his name's sake. Yea, though I walk through the valley of the shadow of death, I will fear no evil, for thou art with me. Thy rod and thy staff, they comfort me. Thou preparest a table before me in the presence of mine enemies. And this is totally channeling Shatner. Thou anointest my head with oil, my cup runneth over. Surely goodness and mercy shall follow me all the days of my life, and I will dwell in the house of the Lord forever. Okay, and Shatner. Although one thing about, everybody's talked about Psalm 23, which may or may not mean anything. If you look in any standard Bible,
There's a number of psalms on each
there's a
page.
lot of Psalms. Yeah, so okay, she could have been reading Psalm 22, I mean, which immediately precedes it. Psalm 22 is a little bit darker.
Yeah.
But,
I-
have you got...
Joe has a Bible in the studio. It's a smaller Bible than the ones that I have. Well, that's not true. I have a couple at my house. But, there's the study Bibles, which are usually those, like, really big ones. And often they just have, like, one or two psalms on a page. And actually the copy that I have just has one full psalm on a page. And sometimes, a couple lines from the previous one make it onto the page. But I think it's possible.
It just depends. There's so many different Bibles, you don't know.
There's so many different ones.
Yeah, but...
But it is possible to get a copy of the Bible where it's basically just one full text of one full psalm on a page, and then a couple before and afters of others.
Yeah, on this one essentially they all run they all run back to back.
Yeah.
So the tenor of Psalm 22 is a little different. It starts out like this: my God, why hast thou forsaken me? Why art thou so far from helping me from the words of my groaning? Oh my God, I cry by day, but thou dost not answer, and by night, but find no rest. And on and on from there. A little darker.
Much darker.
Yeah, but so who knows? Not that it means much of anything, but it is a little bit more despairing than Psalm 23.
I would agree
probably
with that.
Where she was maybe at.
I don't know. It's hard to tell. Everything seems really meticulous with her. It seems very prepared.
Almost like the KGB, like laid the whole table out.
A little bit. We
Yeah.
can talk about that in
Okay.
theories, actually. Let's talk about the things she had in the room and kind of the overall everything. And then, when we get into theories, I guess we can talk a little more about how we feel about her. The problem with this case, and I know that Steve and I talked a little bit about this, and I know he'll talk probably a little bit more about this later, is that this case has, there's almost no information. I think, I bulked out a page on this of actual known facts on this case, and that's with with an entire psalm in it.
That
right?
was by making stuff up.
Yeah, and just totally
I noticed you have
inserting
half
new
a page of
things.
just the weather report.